Welcome to All About Bankruptcy.
Hello and welcome back to All About Bankruptcy with Luke Homen, Oklahoma bankruptcy attorney and president of Convenient Bankruptcy. Luke has been practicing law since 2008 and was voted Best Bankruptcy Attorney in Oklahoma by the Oklahoman in the Reader's Choice Awards. He has helped countless Oklahomans stop wage garnishments and creditor harassment and finally find real financial freedom. I'm Leanne Lyon, and in today's episode, we're taking a closer look inside Luke's new book, Choosing Bankruptcy. We'll talk about what's inside, how it's helping Oklahomans understand their options, and why this book is such a powerful guide for anyone ready to start over financially. Hello, Luke.
Hi there. So glad to be here. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is so much fun. And congratulations again on writing a book. That's such a big
Thank
endeavor.
you. Yeah, it was one of those things where it's done now and I have it forever. And I'm so excited about that because now I have this book full of answers and I don't have to write another one. I mean, I could, but I finished this one.
Take a breath first, enjoy the win.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, for listeners who haven't read the book yet, how would you describe what Choosing Bankruptcy is really about?
It's designed to answer your questions, to make you feel comfortable, to get you to that point where you can feel confident in, it's worth investigating whether I should file bankruptcy. It's worth talking to an attorney. I've got my questions answered. I at least understand enough of it. I feel comfortable with maybe I should choose bankruptcy. So it's designed to kind of take away some of that fear. If you don't feel like you can talk to somebody yet, read a book. Because different people want to learn information in different ways. And I love reading books. And so I thought, you know what? I bet I've got clients who want to read a book. Let's take all this good information and put it in a book.
Well, what's the biggest misconception that you really wanted to clear up for people who think bankruptcy automatically means losing everything?
Yeah, that's really the misconception. And it's a couple different things. So number one, there's a law about, they're called exemptions, about what you get to keep as part of your fresh start. Because you might think, all right, I'm filing bankruptcy. That means I've got to give up my car, my house, my chickens, whatever it is. And each state, Oklahoma here, comes up with an entire long list of all the things you get to keep as part of your fresh start. So that's one of the first misconceptions. You keep your house, you keep your car, you keep your goat, you can keep your clothes, your home furniture, your electronics. There are so many things that you get to keep. So that's one of the first misconceptions. And then another huge one, part of that same question is, my life's going to be over in that no one's ever going to lend money to me again. And the reality is, right now, when you're thinking about bankruptcy, you're not in a good place. You've got all these debts. You've probably got more debts than you can afford to pay. So you're not a very good person to loan money to. But the reality is, when you file a bankruptcy and you don't owe anybody any more money anymore, now you're a much better person to loan money to. So it's not that I want my clients to go out and max out credit cards after they file bankruptcy, but you want to have that safety net of a small credit card or a car payment or something. And trust me, you're going to have people lining up wanting to lend you money once you eliminate all those bad debts.
Wow. Is there kind of a threshold, a point at which, somebody's not going to file bankruptcy because they owe $500 or probably $5,000, I'm guessing.
There's no minimum and there's actually no maximum. We've done bankruptcy for somebody with over $1 million of debt. I probably don't think I've done one for less than about $8,000 of debt, but it's very person by person. And the way I like to think of it is this more debt than you realistically have the ability to repay? And that's very situationally different. If you're earning $150,000 a year, paying back $8,000 loan, not a problem. But I've had clients who were fresh off the street or come out of prison and they're working at a Dollar General or a Walmart and $8,000 or $10,000 of debt, that's not something that they can pay. Or a big medical loan, a big medical debt. Depending on what your income is, you may need to think about bankruptcy for even a smaller amount. But biggest things you got to consider. Number one, you can only file a Chapter 7 every 8 years. So does it make sense to use your get out of debt card now? Is it bad enough? That's something to think about. That's very subjective. So we need to talk through this. Or there's filing fees, there's costs, there's an attorney fee. Is it worth the price that I have to pay? And almost always the answer is absolutely yes. But these are the things that we're talking through, this subjective person by person analysis of, does this make sense for me? Could I just sell my third car and pay off my debts? Well, then, yeah, go sell your third car. But that's not most people's situation. Most people come to us when they've already tried everything they can try under their own abilities, and they still have this big pile of debt left that they don't know how to deal with.
How do you explain the difference between these two in a way that helps them see which one might fit their situation?
Right. So we only do Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 in my office. We mention the other chapters in the book just so people know what they are. They're like municipality bankruptcy, farmer bankruptcy, big company bankruptcy. But for most people, about 75% of my clients choose a Chapter 7, about 25% choose a Chapter 13. Chapter 7 is the kind of bankruptcy, it lasts for about 3.5 months, and you don't make any payments on any of your debts. You can't be a very high earning individual. If you're a high earning individual, you may end up in a Chapter 13. But generally, a Chapter 7 is the eliminate debt without payments option. Chapter 13 is usually a 5-year repayment program. It doesn't mean that you're paying all of your debts, but you're making some payment every month. So we can use this to stop foreclosures. We can use this to deal with tax debts that you couldn't eliminate otherwise. We can use this in a lot of powerful ways. But fundamentally, Chapter 7 is a short, eliminate debts, don't pay them. And Chapter 13 is this 5-year program where you're making a monthly payment of some amount. Doesn't mean you're paying all your debts, but you're making some payment amount, and we're able to accomplish a little bit different things through those payments.
Got it. And you actually have mentioned that, bankruptcy can stop things like garnishments, collections, foreclosures. Why is it so important to spell that out clearly?
One of the biggest reasons is because the creditors trying to collect the money scare people. And they don't necessarily jump to telling you about all your rights. They say something like, pay me today, or I'm taking all your money, and the garnishment's coming and the foreclosure's coming. And maybe there's a legal path for them to get there, but maybe not. And maybe they're also just trying to scare you. And so you need to sit down, you need to understand your rights, and you can read about that in the book, or you can call us, or do both. But it's really important to be able to arm people with the truth and the facts, and that way people can know, okay, they're saying something scary, but maybe it's not entirely true or entirely accurate. Maybe it's a bit misleading and scary. And so let's tell people what really works.
Well, you also include a chapter about who's involved in the process, the courts, the trustees, the creditors. Why do you think it's so helpful to explain those roles?
There's a lot of moving parts in a bankruptcy that you need your attorney to help you with. The easiest comparison, think of a criminal case. In a criminal case, you've got the district attorney, you've got the judge, and you've got you. There's just kind of 3 parts: judge, opponent, you. Family law case, it's judge, spouse, spouse. In a bankruptcy, there are so many different moving parts. You've got a judge, you've got a trustee, you've got the Department of Justice, you've got all the creditors who have different rights, you have you. And so it's more of this, sea full of people that are all being handled all at once through one bankruptcy case. In general civil litigation or criminal litigation, you deal with things generally one-on-one. And here in a bankruptcy, it's this sort of one-stop solution. And there's lots of people and creditors and companies involved, but you and your attorney navigate through all that together to eliminate all of it.
Beautiful. One of the biggest fears I think people have is how their credit will recover after filing.
Yeah.
Does the book teach them about this and how to rebuild and how to get reapproved again?
Absolutely. Yeah. We absolutely talk about life after bankruptcy. That's near the end of the book. We have credit repair programs we can get you signed up for. We also want you to look at your credit report after bankruptcy to make sure everything reported correctly, because there are absolutely pathways to get you up to a 720 credit score. But you got to follow the right advice. We get you all the connections you need there. You can absolutely get good credit. This is not the end of your financial life. It's just the beginning of your new start.
Beautiful. I think there's a couple of areas that you mentioned in the book that people think that they just can't get rid of, and that would be the student loans and the tax debt. How
Yes.
does the book help them understand what's possible?
Yeah. So those are huge common myths and misunderstandings. Student loans are forever, taxes are death and taxes. That's not actually true. Taxes are complicated. There's a whole series of laws governing it. But when you have a good attorney, they can guide you through it and say, okay, we can address this tax, but not this tax. We've got a whole episode of the show that deals with that. But the short answer is taxes can be eliminated. You just have to talk to the attorney and walk through this analysis. But we've absolutely discharged hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars of taxes over the years, and student loans too. There is a pathway. It's a little bit complicated. Again, get an attorney. We'll guide you through it. But I got an email just today about a case where we just discharged $95,000 of student loans just today. So it's absolutely doable with the right client, with the right situation. And again, there's a series of laws, and we'll walk you through it. These things aren't automatic, the student loans or the taxes, but there's a pathway to getting real relief. But step one is you need to call an attorney. You need to talk to me, and you need to say, okay, how does this actually work? And can you help? Hopefully the answer is yes. Probably is.
You mentioned earlier when we started that there's certain things that you won't lose. You won't lose your home. You won't lose your car. Are there certain things, though, that people can expect they will be asked to give up?
Okay, so here's a very common example in Oklahoma. Minerals. Minerals that are not under your home are not protected. Maybe you inherited this from your great uncle and now you get $40 a year in your mineral dividends.
Okay.
If you have minerals, that's something that you're going to lose in bankruptcy. What if you have multiple cars that are fully paid off? You've got 3 Corvettes, you've got a Jeep Wrangler and 2 Corvettes. You're probably going to lose the 3rd car. If you're a husband and wife, each person has the ability to protect equity in one vehicle. A 3rd car, an investment house, something that's not fundamentally necessary for what we call your reorganization. So the state legislature took a look at people and said, all right, you're going to need your house, you're going to need your car, you're going to need your clothes. There's even stuff on the list like horses. There's lots and lots of things you get to keep, but it's those luxury good items. It's those investment items. Let's say you've got a ton of money in Bitcoin. You don't get to keep that and file bankruptcy. You've got stocks, you've got bonds, investment accounts. You get to keep them if it's part of an IRA, a 401k, or a retirement plan. But if it's not, if it's just stocks, well, that's not something you get to keep in a bankruptcy. So the real answer is we'll guide you through it person by person, situation by situation. We'll look at the documents and see if those stocks are actually part of your retirement or if they're not. And we'll walk you through that analysis. But for most of our clients, the 95, 99% of our clients, everything they have, they get to keep.
So don't go out and buy the yacht and then file bankruptcy.
Don't. No. Make good financial decisions and you'll be fine. Don't get
Okay.
anything insane and you'll be fine. Just regular people get to keep their regular people stuff.
Very cool. Well, not only does your book have a title, it has a subtitle and it mentions choosing your comeback. What does a financial comeback look like to you, and how do you help clients get there?
Well, when people come to me, they're often at the worst moment of their lives financially. And often that's been triggered by the other worst moment in their life. They lost their job, they lost a spouse. Divorce is a super common cause of bankruptcy, job loss, major medical stuff. So usually somebody had something really bad happen. Our clients are not, I bought too many shiny, pretty things. Our clients are, bad thing happened and I fell in debt and now I'm stuck. And so if we can get you out of that financial hole, I often describe bankruptcy as getting you out of this whirlpool of debt. The whirlpool is sucking you deeper and deeper into debt. And we get out of that with the bankruptcy. That's our little life preserver on the cover. It's that lifeline. And so you had something bad happen in your life. Your finances got really bad. And now we get you that reset. We get you out of the financial mess so you can turn the next page. Maybe that means you shared a house with your ex-spouse and we just give it up in the bankruptcy if there's no value there. And then you can move on and get somewhere new to live that doesn't have all the baggage, or get a new car that doesn't have all the bad memories attached to it. We get you the financial freedom so you can turn that page on your life and move on to your new fresh start.
Beautiful. Love that. Well, as we wrap up here and after finishing the book, what kind of questions do you hope that people will bring to their first consultation with you?
I think the first question you want to ask is this right for me? And you want to know what your own situation is. The best thing you can do is have at least some idea of your debts and your assets. I own a house, I own a car, I've got about this much credit card debt, about this much medical debt. You want to have some idea of your financial situation. I don't need a detailed spreadsheet, but just be able to talk about what you have and what you don't and who you owe, just in general terms. And then you want to be able to come in and say, hey, this is my situation. I earn $19 an hour. I work 40 hours a week plus some overtime. I've got this much in debt. Does it make sense for me to file bankruptcy?
Yeah.
If you're earning $19 an hour and you've got a lot of debt, then probably it is. Probably you need the bankruptcy, even if you're earning a lot more than that. Bankruptcy isn't really just about your income. It's about, are my debts too much for my income? So we have plenty of clients who are earning over $100,000 a year, but because life happened, now they're stuck with some debt situation that's beyond their means to deal with on their own.
Yeah, I hear that. And although you're not required to show up with a detailed spreadsheet, I'll bet you wouldn't say no to it either.
I certainly wouldn't, or even a handwritten list. Just the more information you can give us, the
Sure.
easier it is for us to give us good advice.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Luke, and thank you, audience, for listening to today's episode of All About Bankruptcy. If you'd like a free copy of Luke's book, Choosing Bankruptcy, visit convenientbankruptcy.com. It's a plain English guide that helps Oklahomans understand their options, avoid common mistakes, and take that first confident step towards financial freedom. And don't forget, leave a review, and subscribe to the show so you don't miss the next episode. Thank you, Luke.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.